Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today's video, smoked duck breast with the cherry and rosemary sauce. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here and you're interested in learning how to cook authentic Cajun and Creole cuisines, comfort food, and just about anything for that matter, then you come to the right place. Click that subscription button, that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Now today's video is a smoked duck breast with a cherry and rosemary sauce. Now this was super delicious. It's been a long time since I've had some duck and it was well worth the wait. Now look, there's a little bit of technique to this, but don't get discouraged, don't get overwhelmed. This is a very simple dish to make. Just follow the steps. I'm gonna show you step by step how to make this super good. And you've seen the thumbnail, so it's very gourmet looking, but very easy to make, okay? This is another dish that you can impress whoever it is that you're having over for a dinner party. Now look, I'm gonna stop wasting your time. We're gonna get straight to it. So let's go ahead and get to the kitchen so I can show you what I'm talking about. All right, let's go over some of the ingredients here. Now, of course, the star of the show is that duck breast. We're gonna make a nice cherry and rosemary sauce to go over that. We're also gonna make a sweet potato puree. We're gonna saute some green beans with some bell pepper and onion. And we're gonna season this with a little salt and that West Coast Cajun Cuisine's Creole seasoning. All right, so we're gonna start off by prepping our duck breast. The first thing we're gonna do is trim off some of this excess skin. Now what we want to do is score the top of the skin. We just want to cut down to the flesh. We don't want to cut into the flesh. And what this is going to do is this is going to keep the breast from bowing up and shrinking when we go to crisp up the skin. So we're going to go ahead and score it into a checkerboard pattern. Now we're going to go ahead and salt the skin side of the duck breast. Now we're going to place our duck breast into a cold cast iron skillet, and then I'm going to turn the heat on to about a medium-high heat and let it come up to temperature slowly. And the reason why we're doing this is so that we can render the fat down before we crisp up the skin. And this last one you see here is a different color because they didn't have any more regular duck breasts at the store and I had to get a pre-marinated one. That's why it looks different. Alright, it's been going for about 15 minutes and you can see all of that fat that has rendered from in between the breast and the skin. And now if you look at the color, man, the skin is crisp enough, nice and beautiful. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and hit it with a little bit of that West Coast Cajun Cuisine's Creole seasoning. Then we're going to flip them and let them cook on the flesh side for about 2 minutes. Alright, while we were getting that duck breast skin all nice and crispy, I went ahead and set my grill up to smoke at 250 degrees with a little bit of applewood, and we're going to bring these breasts up to a temperature of about 140. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and get our cherry sauce going. Now I have some cherries that I went ahead and cut in half and took the pit out of. Once we get that in there, we'll just let it warm up just a little bit, maybe 30 seconds to a minute or so. And then we're going to add some red wine, about a cup. Now I'm using a pomegranate wine. If you can't find a pomegranate wine near you, then that's perfectly fine. Use a Cabernet, that works really well. And once we get that in there, we just go ahead and give it a quick stir, make sure everything's well mixed. And then what I want to do is add our shallot and garlic. All right, I'll leave the exact recipe for this in the description box below. But right now we're going to get that in there. We're going to give it a nice stir. And then what we're going to do is bring this up to a simmer, and then we'll continue from there. All right, this has been simmering for about 5 to 8 minutes, just long enough to cook that alcohol off of the wine. Now we're going to go ahead and add our brown sugar, our rosemary. We're going to kick it up with a little bit of West Coast Cajun Cuisine's Creole seasoning, and then we're going to add some chicken stock to this. Now once we get that all in there, just give it a quick mix. Bring this back up to a simmer, and then we will let it sit and reduce by about half. Alright, this has been simmering for about 10 minutes. It has reduced nicely. Now what I'm going to do is take the back of the spoon and I'm going to start smashing some of these cherries. I want to get that cherry flavor nice and prominent in this sauce. Now while we're letting that cherry sauce reduce some more, we're going to go ahead and check our duck breast, and we have hit our target temperature, so we're going to go ahead and pull them off. Alright, we got our duck resting. We're going to go ahead and finish off the sauce. It has reduced about to where I want it. I removed that rosemary stem about 5 minutes ago. Now we're going to go ahead and throw this into the blender. Now that everything's in our blender, we're going to pulse it a couple times, and then we're going to put it on high for about 90 seconds. Alright, I got this blended down to a nice consistency, but I want to take this a step further. I'm going to go ahead and pass this through a fine mesh strainer because I want to get it nice and silky smooth. Alright, this is the consistency that we're looking for. It's nice and smooth. Go ahead and give it a quick taste for seasoning. Other than that, the only thing left to do now is to plate. Alright, we're going to start off by slicing our duck breast. Now I sliced this on a bias at about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch thick. As you can see, it's perfectly medium, it's juicy, and I did slip a little piece of the end there a little while ago, and it was delicious. Alright, I'm going to start off by putting down some of the sweet potato puree. I'm just going to put a little dollop in the middle of the plate. Then I'm just going to give it a little swoosh, a little smear. Alright, and then I'm going to start laying the strips of duck breast over the top of that. Look, you plate this however you want, okay? This is where you can get creative. You can kind of let some of that creative art of cooking and plating come out, alright? So feel free to do this however you want. I'm just giving you an example. Alright, so now we get the duck breast laid down. I'm going to put our vegetable on here, and this is fresh green beans sauteed with bell pepper, onion, garlic, a little seasoning. If you're interested in seeing how I did these green beans, just leave me a comment down below. I'll do a video on it. I was thinking about doing a little sides dish series anyway, so just leave me a comment down below if you guys might be interested in something like that. And then once we get to that point, we're just going to lay some of this cherry sauce over the top of the duck breast. Then I'm just going to put a little dollop at the top, give it a little smear just for looks, you know, just to be fancy. And now this is what we ended up with. If you haven't already and you'd like to subscribe, go ahead and click here. If you want to check out some of the other videos we have on the channel, you can check out this playlist, or maybe this video is more of what you're looking for. Either way, click on one of those and I'll see you there.